This video, we're going to be breaking down how to stop normal Y-off close in Madden 25. This is probably the top formation in the game right now. A lot of people have started using this formation, and I'm going to show you how I like to defend it. So auto flip is going to be off, auto alignment on base, option defense on conservative, and all of these zone drops are going to be on default. And we're going to come out in the double safety go. Now, we're going to be adjusting this coverage and adjusting this back into this. But if you guys want to get my full dollar defensive ebook, it's in our school community. Goes over everything that I like to do out of this formation. And you can get all of our ebooks in school for $10 on Madden and college football. So you get both games for one price of $10. So if you want to sign up and become a member today, the link is going to be in the description. Again, I'm going to go, I'm going to go over how I like to play this defense. So what I like to do is I have this play cover 4 quarters in my audibles. The reason I like cover 4 is just because I think it's just the best defense to adjust out of. If you wanted to adjust out of cover 2 or you wanted to adjust out of cover 3, be my guest. Doesn't really matter to me, but just, that's what I like to do. So anyway, all you're going to do is you are going to move this guy over here, and then you're going to adjust out of that. I like to start by shading underneath. Now, what is this shade underneath going to do? This shade underneath is going to do a decent job. Number one, it's going to cancel the match principle. Number two, you're going to kind of be able to just essentially always shade underneath and then set up your coverage from there. So what I like to do is, first and foremost, a shaded underneath yellow on this right side, so vert hook. And then we're going to do a soft squat and a deep half on the right. On this left side, you can leave this inside quarter here if you want to. It'll play the seam streak a little bit better, but you got to watch out for that tight end streak. So what I like to do is back this guy up and put him in a middle third. And then last thing is put this guy on the left in a curl flat. So that's pretty much it. You can stand right here to shoot the run. I think this is a pretty balanced defensive strategy for this formation. And if we just go over the first play, and really I think the best play is Y sail from this. You're going to see here that if I try to throw this tight end in this seam, you see that middle third, because we moved him back, he's going to play that a lot better than he would otherwise. If you wanted to, guys, you could do this out of cover 3 hard flat as well. So what I could do is I could go to cover 3 hard flat. I'm just going to shade underneath, right? And then I'm going to move this guy over, and we're going to create that cover 2 with a soft squat. You could do that if you wanted to. The biggest thing, again, you still have to move this guy back. I'm a big believer in this middle third right here, because your job as a user, if you think about it, is you're going to kind of play this left seam area. So one of the other popular plays that you get a lot in this formation is something like this. So the way that I like to defend this play is we're going to switch stick onto, this flat defender once we take away the seam streak. So you'll see here, this kind of goes. I'm going to play the seam streak with a switch stick here, and then we're going to kind of switch stick here to take away this backside post. And again, this soft squat on the right side is going to do a really good job of taking away that backside receiver. If they don't have flat routes, if they're, they're going to have to like respect the fact that we can send some pressure out of this, so this isn't like automatic. And again, you get into a shell basically like this. You could leave this quarter here. I'm not mad at you leaving this quarter here. I'm just saying in general, ID path. But you could leave the quarter here if you wanted to. Perfectly fine with me, okay? But the biggest thing here is if they're running this cheap flat post, what I'd really like to do is switch stick onto this flat for just a minute, right? Just a minute. And then I'll switch stick back to this yellow and take the post. So that's what I like to do. Another play that is really popular is something like this, for example. And this is going to do a pretty good job of defending this as well. So how do I like to defend PA snag out of this look? Again, I like to move that guy back. That's like a big piece of this defense. And I like to vert hook and soft squat on the right. So we're not going to have to really defend the right side of the field. Honestly, the biggest thing is going to be this post. What I like to do is just simply switch stick onto this middle third. Once I kind of see that this backside, that this tight end's on this corner route, right? I kind of see that. I'm just going to switch stick here and take this away. And you see that everything is pretty much bagged up. I'm just using the backside post. So very, very simple defense, but a really, really good way to defend this formation. The one thing that you got to watch out for is this Y sail and them leaving the table route. What you'll see here if they do that is this can be a touchdown, as you can see. Now, I want to go over that because you kind of need to You just kind of need to like be ready for that, because what you can do, because you're putting this middle third here, this is why I like the deep half. You can deep half here, and then you have the soft squat right, so it looks like this. So once I see this, I'm going to switch stick onto the deep half. So when I see this tight end streak, I'm switch sticking onto this deep half. So you see how this kind of goes, right? I'm going to switch stick here, and then I'm going to switch stick to this deep half and just take this like this. So that's one way you could do it. Another way that you could do it without having to move this middle third, that is kind of cool, that I did want to show, is if I'm using over here, right, I'm going to instantly switch stick to this middle third, and I'm going to run him into this seam when I see that combo. So you'll see, and you're kind of anticipating this, but this is a really good way to do it. And again, this guy will be, more so down here. So I see it, switch stick here, and you'll be surprised just by switch sticking and kind of helping him get his hips moving to where you want him to go. It will make a big difference in the route combo. Another thing is, if they are doing this a lot, we just cloud flat over here on the right side, and it'll close the throwing lane for long enough that you can switch stick. So again, you're just gonna be over here, switch stick here, and then you go back to the 3-rec if you want. Okay. But another little underrated feature is you can also, which we didn't get to yet, you can also mid-read this guy. This will do a really good job. The reason I like the mid-read is if you watch this Y sail play, this mid-read will play that in route. It'll also play the short post from PA snag. So I'll show you that as well. So like if we run a combo like so, and I have the short post equipped from PA snag here. And again, if we're just doing, this, if we mid-read this guy, when we switch stick off of him, he'll guard any kind of short post. So you'll see here how this kind of goes, switch stick, and then back to this vert hook. You see why that mid-read is doing a really good job. Now, obviously, we got to worry about the drag, which is another challenge. But this just forces everything in front of you, and you'll see here, you see how this mid-read does a really good job. And then we basically just force them to check down to the drag, right? Which is kind of cool because we limit the big play. That is the big thing here, okay? As far as other plays that are really good out of this, these are like the main ones that you have to worry about. Maybe they do something like this, for example. Again, with your user being over here, one of the things I want to show you is if your user's over here and, we're running the defense like so, right? If all the action is coming backside, this is why I really like mid reads, because when I switch stick off, this mid read will play the short post on either side. So what you'll see here is I'll just user this there, and then I'll kind of jump back down, and you see the mid reads playing that all the way through. So I really like mid reads against this formation on your user, and then I like switch sticking off fairly early once you recognize the combination. You really got to watch out in this game for the double streaks out of Y sail. And that's really the main one that I'm ready for, because if they do that, which this is an obvious, good idea on their part to go to this setup, then we're just literally going to switch stick here and just go user that and then switch stick back. And you see how that mid-range taking that post, and then late we'll just switch stick back to the vert hook. So this is how I like to play defense. Obviously, you can mix in this basic cover 4. Totally could mix this in, right? Totally fine. I would probably still middle third this guy, and I would honestly still kind of user him for a minute, just to kind of help him get back into position. Totally can do that. But in general, this is how I like to defend normal while close right now. It's one of my favorite ways to defend it. Not the only way, but I do think this is probably the best, is basically this coverage right here. Let me show you this real quick. This coverage right here, you could curl flat on this outside. The beauty of this curl flat is I don't know that let's see if it reroutes here. Actually, it does reroute. We don't want that. If you put so it's kind of like, I'll give you this one last thing, but it's kind of cool. So what you can also do is put your hooks on 5, which is a good adjustment because it helps. It's not going to be as good at defending the short post routes, but it's going to be a lot better at defending the drags. So let's say they're running this combination a ton and they're hitting you with the speed out on the left side. I don't want to ever have to cover 2 to the left if I can help it. So what I want to do is I want to just be able to put a purple out there, but I don't want him to reroute. So you saw that I put my hooks on 5, right? So by putting my hooks on 5, it's going to cancel all the rerouting that you're going to get. And then what you're able to see here is now I've got this curl flat out there. So they snap this ball. They're going to throw this because they think it's just automatic. And you see that curl flat will actually go out there and play that because he's not rerouting the slot receiver. So to me, this is like a super good way to kind of counter the speed outs on the left. And then the speed out on the right, like one other thing that you'll see, is you might see something like this. And they could get to this a couple of different ways. But basically, it's a speed out to the right side. Well, that's why we have a soft squat or cloud over there. So all in all, this is a very good shell to base out of for this formation. The main thing I really want you to take away, though, is if you're not going to switch stick onto this middle third, you need to move him back to about 10 yards of depth. Otherwise, he will get bombed. And to me, that's just a really, really, really big point. And then also, you can... The other thing is you can just shade underneath, shade over top, and you don't have to worry because you put your vert hook on 5. But the reason I like to sometimes have this cloud flat here is another route combo that you'll get something like this, right? This speed out on the left side, you'll see this cloud just plays it pretty good, and then that quarter over the top as well. So this is how I defend this formation. Obviously not the only way to defend the formation, but this is a good way to defend it because it limits the big play capabilities. I definitely think situationally a coverage shell like this there's nothing wrong with this. You just have to be ready for that tight end seam streak. And that's why I really am a big believer in this middle third right here. If you don't middle third and you're over here, realistically, you probably want to be more like right here. And then you can kind of lurk the left side seam. And then, like I said, if they run a speed out to the slot, then you have that cloud flat that's kind of in that area. And that's why I actually like curl flats a little better. Just the basic like hot routed curl flat. You could shade it outside if you want, but this should stop it. Let me see if it actually does. You'll see here the curl flat's not going to bite, and it kind of plays it perfectly, right? That's a hard throw to consistently live on. So I really like it like this. I like cover 2 to the running back side. I like cover 3 to the other sides. If you wanted to, you could deep half here on the left side and kind of play it like this. But in general, this is kind of how I defend this formation. Again, the big thing that I like is moving this guy back a little bit is going to help. Because if you move him back, you don't really have to help him. And I'll show that real quick. So, let's just say it's Y sail. Right? By moving him back right here, that's how... It's a scary enough throw. It's hard for them to make that. Another thing you could do if you want to get crazy is you could middle third him here like this. Make him more of a middle field player. But... that's just up to you. But in general, I think your user is really over in this left side seam. It's kind of the important thing for you. You're kind of a hook curl over here. And then if you want to switch stick off of your user a lot, then I'd put that mid read out there. That mid read will do a really good job against those short post routes. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. A little normal wild close defense for you. If you guys want to get my full ebook, that is all in the school community, and that link is in the description below.